So Happy New Year, those who have come first today, for all of you. May the blessings of the Lord be upon all of us in this new year, and let our life be more meaningful and purposeful. Now, today is very auspicious day. Today is auspicious in one sense that Swami Turiyanandaji Maharaj, who came to Sri Ramakrishna and became an exemplary figure in Vedanta movement by his own life and character. It is his birthday celebration. We are going to do that by reading his unique life. We know that we call it Vedanta societies here to this Ramakrishna movement. Ramakrishna came, as we said yesterday, to awaken the divine consciousness in all of us. We are divine, but we do not know that. We think we are impure, we are limited, we are imperfect, and we are a victim of this world's all pleasure and pain. We are puppet in the hand of others. But Vedanta declares you are divine, you are pure, you are stainless. Only what is happening? A thin layer of cloud has come in between, which we call ignorance. And that ignorance is giving you the trouble, making you feel that you are so limited in body, mind and emotion. But this is a high theory. We may think that is it a good idea to think I am divine, but where is my real life? Everyday real life, we are tossed by the suffering and pleasure and pain. How can I hold on to this theory? It is a theoretically pleasurable idea. There are many things which are theoretically good, but in practically it is not applicable. But it is practically applicable also, and there is a glaring example what Vedanta principle teaches. Swami Turiyanandaji was an embodiment of that. It's called Advaita Vedanta from the very childhood. As Shankara's life story here, that when he was taking bath and crocodile came, and he wanted to renounce the world and only widow mother, and mother was not permitting him to take the vows of sannyas. Then he was swimming and mother was also in the same ghat and saw that a crocodile is pulling the Shankara into the deep waters. And the Shankara saying, "Ma, give me permission, give me permission." And Ma fainted, giving permission, "Okay, Baba, I give you permission to be a monk." And the crocodile disappeared. It's a miraculous story. But here is a miraculous story of the centuries past. We may think it is a concocted story, but story happens. There is no story, it is a fact. Swami Turiyanandaji, one time, he was a young boy, Harinath. From the childhood, he used to think, I am Atman, I am that, I am pure, I am stainless. That was his motto, no? What a beautiful mindset he was born with. And he was doing that, and suddenly, one day, he was taking a dip into the river, and suddenly he saw a crocodile coming. And out of his natural reaction, he's just trying to get out of the river water and running towards the land. And then suddenly he said, "What am I doing? I say I am not the body, not the mind, and I am running away." Then he entered into the water to prove that he believes that truth. So that was the beginning of Swami Turiyanandaji's life, Hari Maharaj. And he was a unique preacher of Vedanta by his own merit. And he came to Sri Ramakrishna, and then Ramakrishna nurtured him and made a full-fledged embodiment of truth, of Vedantic truth. And in his life, he did austerity, practice. Even having that type of conviction, he practiced his spiritual discipline and went for wandering days in much austerities and spiritual practice, going into isolated place and this. And also he was sent by Swami Vivekananda, wanted him to come to this country. And he said, I have talked. I am now sending a person whose life will represent Vedanta. I preached, Swami Vivekananda said, I preached Vedanta in language, but you will see a living example. Vedanta can be lived like that. So he came in this country and all these stories are there. So we shall try to read the stories of unique stories to get inspiration. Not to read, but to apply in life. Troubles will come, crocodile will come to catch. Sometimes we will be running away, but we have to retrace back. See, what? I am not the body, I am in the body. Yes, I am in the mind. Mind is fearful, I am not. To assert that principle and to make it a reality in life. That's why spirituality can be manifested in our day-to-day life. So that is the Turiyananda Swami stands for that. So I will read from this life of Swami, life written by Swami Chetanananda. This book you should all read. There are 2 volumes. One volume is made for all the stories of the 16 disciples. So you see how they, like you and me, were born and made the life meaningful. And they realized God for themselves. And they showed light to the whole world by their very life, by their very breath. We are born and dead. Who cares for that? What we contribute to the world. But these are the people who contributed to the world and exemplary. It is called the science of spirituality has been proven by them. Ramakrishna did that. He said, I saw God. I see you. I see more clearly than God. That is one person. But is it a science? Science is that they said, yes, verified, verifiable, I have verified. All of them put stamps on that verifiable nature of the knowledge of Brahman. So this is a great, great, great movement. That's why I call Ramakrishna movement. It is not philosophical, it is not theoretical, it is not talking, but it is a living a life of fearlessness. Not fearlessness means arrogance and haughtiness, but real fearlessness means establishing our identity with the divine within, and then you are free. Whom you fear? If you can establish your identity in the inner realm of truth, this life becomes fearless. Abhayam. Upanishad says, Abhayam te pratishtitam. So Swami Turiyananda, one morning before daybreak in the North Calcutta, a teenage boy was bathing in the Ganges when he saw something floating near him. Some people on the shore saw it too and shouted, Crocodile, crocodile, come out quickly. The boy immediately rushed towards the shore, but he stopped while still standing in the knee-deep water and thought to himself, what are you doing? You repeat day and night, Shoham, Shoham, I am that, I am that. And now, all of a sudden, you forget your ideal and think that you are the body? Shame on you. He is talking to himself. He immediately went back into the deep waters and continued his bathing. Fortunately, the crocodile also had left. But see the courage where he get, it is a foolishness, no? There is a crocodile and I am saying, oh, it is not crocodile. What is that? I am not the body. But crocodile body will catch the Hari's body, no? Body will catch the body. But anyhow, but the inner spirit is so high. This fearless boy, Harinath, would grow up into and become a Turiyananda. And he was born on 3rd January 1863. Today is what? 2nd. In India it is 3rd. So this is 3rd January. It falls in the same day. 3rd January 1863. Normally in India we calculate through the lunar calendar, but it matched with the English calendar also. In North Calcutta. And his father was Chandranath Mukhopadhyay, Orthodox Brahmin, worked for a British firm in Calcutta. And Chandranath was a very kind person and could foretell the future. He had 3 sons, 3 daughters, and Hori was the youngest. When Hori was 3 years old, his mother passed away by rabid jackal's bite while protecting him, that means the child. As a result, she was brought up by his sister-in-law, and his father died when he was only 12. While Harinath was crying bitterly just before his father's death, his sisters asked his father to say some words of consolation to Hari. His father said in the dying condition, "What is there to say? Hari belongs to the world and the world belongs to Hari." Thus prophecy became true. That means you see the father also. This type of son also is born in such families where fathers are so spiritually elevated. That's why good householder life is necessary in the world. Monks will not do anything. But monks don't come drop from the sky. They are born in a nice families where there is spirituality in the family. The tradition is there. Parents are righteous and truthful and honest, and their house only these pure children they are born who dedicate themselves for God and this higher purpose. From his boyhood, Harinath was drawn to Brahmin. He was Brahmin, so he was drawn to Brahminic ideals, orthodoxy, and asceticism. So after he was tuned to the Gayatri Mantram, the Gayatri Mantra you all know, Bhur-Bhuvasva, etc., is a sacred thread ceremony. He would bathe 3 times a day, practice japam and meditation regularly, sleep on the floor, not like us. Because he is a austere, so they will chant the mantra Bhur Bhuvasva 3 times a day. Before that you will have to take a bath and then eat vegetable food, or vegetarian, because Bengalis eat fish and also meat. But he is now austere. He is becoming Brahmin, means half sannyas. He used to wrestle in gymnasium, also take care of his body. All the Ramakrishna's disciples, Brahmananda was a wrestler, Vivekananda was a wrestler, because you need physical health, good health. And he could do 100 push-ups, 300, 500 knee bends at a stretch. That means we should take care of our body also. Thus, he trained his body so that it could bear severe austerity in the future. Moreover, strictly practiced continence and told his friends that he would never marry. So from the childhood, his tendency is that to be a monk or something like that. Harinath's education was in Calcutta, in some school. Then he went to General Assembly School, a school run by Christian missionary. He always attended the classes on Bible and other Hindu boys where they avoided. Any kind of religious book fascinated him. And he committed to memory the Chandi, the Gita, Viveka Chudamani, and many mystical couplets of Tulsidas. Sometimes in the evening, sitting on the bank of the Ganga, he would recite the scriptures and cry for God. See that these are the special characteristics. How mind is different. He is memorizing the Bhagavad Gita, memorizing this, what you call Viveka Chudamani. It's matter of joke to memorize Viveka Chudamani. At least we now know, no? Sarva Priyananda Swami has made it popular. Viveka Chudamani, Drigdishya Vivek, we all know the names now. Before it was not known much. But yes, but he memorized them. Why memorization? Memorization has a big impact. If you memorize, what happens? Your mind will be charged with some high noble thoughts. And you can anytime recall any other mantra, and your mind will be lifted to a higher level. So that's the benefit of memorizing. And that was the style before. That's why we call the Upanishads are called Shruti. Shruti means listening, you memorize. Previously, all these Vedas were not written, and it was only in the mouth, on the memory. And that was a great talent. And now our brain is becoming dull. We cannot remember very little things. But the earlier days they could remember. That's why the Dvivedi, Trivedi, Chaturvedi, you know, the surname of some our Indian tradition, spiritual people or family people. The Dvivedi means they have mastered 2 Vedas, Dvivedi, Trivedi. They have mastered 3 Vedas memorized in their bhava. Could you believe? Chaturvedi, they know 4 Vedas, memorize them. And that is the way the tradition came uninterrupted. You have to chant in the particular way and memorize them so that you don't distort the language. In musical note, no, if you do some mistake, it will listen something wrong in your ear, no? So similarly, these Vedas, diacritical marks are there, and that is the same way everyone has to learn. So Harinath did that. So in his teenage years, Harinath began to feel intense renunciation and desired to avoid worldly life. And he and his friend Gangadhar became Akhandananda later on. He used to go to Sarvamangala temple in Calcutta to a person who had occult powers. People used to flock to him to receive his blessings, so that disease and other things could be cured. Harinath started to visit him even every evening. One day that holy man asked him, "What do you want?" Harinath said, "I want to practice spiritual discipline and to realize God." He said, "No, I don't want any cure, miracle touch or anything, no? But I want God realization." How clear about the ideal. That's the point. We have no map of our life, as we always say. We have no planning. Our life, look at our life. We were kids, then went to primary school. Okay, finish, go to the high school. Then go to the college. Then go to the university. Then go do this, whatever appearing. And what next? What next? No future planning. Ultimately, for what reason I am studying? Ultimately, why am I going to school? That is the map of life. Ultimate is that goal. And these will be then clear. But Hari Maharaj had that. That God realization is the goal. I don't want anything else but God realization. The holy man was highly pleased and said, "Wonderful. Surely you will succeed, my boy, but the time has not yet come. You continue your sadhana at your home." Around that time, some people came to Harinath with a proposal of marriage even, because those days everyone is to get married in the early days. But they never visited him again after hearing his fiery words of renunciation. So he gave a big talk of renunciation, and they left. Now, Harinath met Sri Ramakrishna. That's the turning point, more. For the first time in Calcutta, in Bagh Bazar, he was then 13 or 14 years of old. Harinath watched as Hridaya helped Ramakrishna get down from a horse carriage. So Ramakrishna was in Samadhi. So it happened all the time. He is in the car, and when he is coming down, by that time he is in Samadhi. Now he cannot come down, he will fall down. That's why Hridaya Ram was always there with the bodyguard. So he was helping Sri Ramakrishna to come down from the carriage. Master was in ecstasy. Later Harinath wrote about this first impression. Harinath says, quote, "The master appeared very thin. He had a shirt on and his cloth was securely tied around his waist. One of the feet was on the step of the carriage and the other was inside. He was in a semi-conscious state. When he got down, what a wonderful sight! There was an indescribable radiance over his face. I thought, I have heard from scriptures about the great sages like Shukadeva. Is he the same Shukadeva?" Ramakrishna was taken to the second floor, regaining a little consciousness of the outer world. The master saw a portrait of Mother Kali. He bowed down and then thrilled the audience by singing a song describing the oneness of Krishna and Kali. So that was his first impression. He saw Ramakrishna coming to Calcutta in Dinanath Bose's house in Bagh Bazar, and what he saw? Half ecstatic mood, first vision, and is lost into the consciousness, and then he was carried out by Hridaya Ram, and then he sang a song as he entered, and he sang a song, such melodious song that created that spiritual energy up for everyone. And the song, Kali and Krishna, they don't get along. No? Kali and Krishna get along, but Kali's devotees and Krishna's devotees don't get along. Kali's devotee will say, Kali is the great. And Krishna's devotee will say, Krishna is the great. Anyhow, they get into fight. But anyway, Sri Ramakrishna is the harmonizer. So what he sang? He sang Kali and Krishna is the same. I do not know what this song. The first meeting with God intoxicated saint left a deep impression on Harinath's mind. It's called, if you see religion, we talk about religion. If you see a person of that stature, you know what is called religion. Religion becomes clear. No doctrine, no dogma, but it is the environment which he creates by his presence itself. He is God himself. He becomes identified and tuned to the consciousness of the divine all the time. As he was inclined to Shankara's non-dualistic philosophy and a life of renunciation and austerity and continence, he had not feel that it is necessary for him to become a disciple of Ramakrishna, who was a devotee of Divine Mother. He is a dualistic. Ramakrishna is a person dualistic. He does the puja, ma, dualistic. I am Atman, one, absolute. So it does not fit in with his mindset. So he didn't feel much to go and learn from something. However, after 2 or 3 years passed, 1880, Harinath went to Dakshineswar and visited the master again. So see, 2-3 years passed in between. That was the first impression. He saw a person intoxicated, but he was not interested because he is practicing non-dual, absolute non-dual practice. What a samskara from childhood having that. And also passing away of his mother and also his father, that created, always in life when we think what is good, what is bad, we do not know. But when you get a blow like that in the early child, lost a mother, and then father also passed away soon, it created a big void, and naturally the unworthiness of this world, impermanence of the world, it becomes spontaneous in the heart of that person, everyone. So probably that inspired him to be standing on the non-dual understanding. Now gradually, after Harinath became familiar with Ramakrishna and began all sorts of personal questions. One day he asked, "Sir, how can one become free from lust completely?" Ramakrishna replied, "Why it go? Why should it go? My boy, give it a turn in another direction. What is lust? It is desire to get something. So desire to get God and strengthen his desire greatly. So desire God. That is it will not go. The inner tendencies will remain. But same energy. Your car is moving in the speed, no? But if you, by mistake, before starting you give the back gear, it will go speedily in the back side. If you change the gear in the front direction, it will go slower. So how you direct the energy is the same, but for God realization. That's Ramakrishna is very simple. You have not to do anything, just turn your everything towards God. Anger, frustration, be with God. Sri Ramakrishna's way of teaching was simple, natural, and very effective. He did not ask him disciples to mortify themselves. He said, the more you go towards the east, the further you will be away from the west. The more you increase your love for God, the more your lust, anger, jealousy, and other will decrease. That's the point. Many people ask about, how shall I know that I am growing in spirituality? This will happen. The attraction for the things of the outside, which is temporary, will automatically reduce, and the pull inside for God and truth and spirituality will grow. That is a transformation of character. Another day, Harinath asked Ramakrishna that he is not at least interested with marriage and other things. He could not bear them. Sri Ramakrishna said, "You talk like a fool. Looking down upon women? Why? They are the manifestation of the Divine Mother. Bow down to them with respect. That is the only way you can escape from their snares." So this is all Sri Ramakrishna's teaching, as also the positive turning for all of us to understand how we can spiritualize our life. Young Harinath received the specific instruction on meditation and other directions. "Sir," he asked one day, "how does one become aware of the dawn of knowledge?" Ramakrishna replied, "A man does not jump about when he gets illumination. Outwardly, he remains as he was, but his entire perspective of the world changes. This touch of the philosopher's stone converts a steel sword into a gold. It retains its former shape, but it can no longer kill. It has become soft." So people may think, when you realize God, what will happen? Nothing will happen. You look the same. Holy Mother said, "Will two horns grow on your head?" If I see that some horn coming on your head, I know you are now becoming God-centered and you are becoming spiritually illumined. No, you will look the same. Only internal transformation. The same mind, but internal purity will come. Internal thought will be totally God-centric. Like a true Vedantin, Harinath plunged into the study of Vedanta. And there one day he came to Ramakrishna and said, "Harinath is not coming to see Sir Ramakrishna." Then Ramakrishna inquired about that, what happened to Harinath? Somebody said Harinath is now very engaged in studying Vedanta. So that's why he is not interested in anything. Even he is not interested to come to Ramakrishna. But he asked one day asked him to come, and he came. And then he asked, Ramakrishna, seeing him, asked, "What is there in your Vedanta? You are reading so many books. That's good. But what is in your Vedanta? Is it not Brahman alone is true, all else is false?" And with these simple two words, God alone is true, and everything is false. Hearing this, Hari Maharaj said that my total vision changed. Reading of so many scriptures, if we don't understand this fundamental point, then what is Vedanta? Vedanta is this. Everything is changing. Everything name and form. Everything momentary. But that is the unchanging reality. To find the unchanging in the changes, to find the permanent in the impermanent, that is called Vedanta. To find that permanent is God, permanent is Atman, permanent is Satchidananda, and everything is in the change in Maya or in misunderstanding. So that is the training Ramakrishna. So Sri Ramakrishna said, the Brahman alone is real and the world is unreal. One day the master said to Harinath, what is there in your scriptures? Nothing can be. And he said, Master said, a few days later Sri Ramakrishna went to Balaram's house and sent for Harinath. Master greeted him cordially and continued his talk to the devotees. Nothing can be achieved, he said, neither knowledge, nor devotion, nor vision without God's grace. Well, is it a very easy matter to realize that lust and gold are unreal and to have to form conviction that the world is eternally non-existent? Is it possible without his compassion? Can a man have the conviction through his own effort? A man, if after all tiny, being a creature with very limited powers, what an infinitesimal part of the truth can be grasped by himself? While talking about God, grace, the master went on to ecstasy. So he also, Ramakrishna is saying, you do your effort, no? But don't think that you will be able to realize God by your own effort. But your effort with God's grace will dawn in you. That's why Ramakrishna sang a song, O Kusha, O Lava, why are you so proud? If I had not let myself be captured, could you have captured me? That is the story of Lava Kusha. And Mother Sita, they brought Rama, tied him, and then brought it before Ma Sita. And he said, see whom I brought? Then he said, do you think, Love and Kush, you are so powerful that you have bound Lord Rama by your rope? What Gaurav, what glory you are, it is by his grace he has become subdued to you, to give you honor. That's why he has. That means in spiritual life, you may do your effort, but don't be proud that you can do everything. You will have to depend on God's grace also. But many people make an excuse, oh, God's grace, I do not know when He will come. But they don't do themselves anything. The God's grace will never come. But after exhausting our energy, then God's grace, we have to wait for God's grace. So that also, Advaita Vedanta student must have to understand that. Last is God's grace. You do all things you can do. Vedanta practice, how much you say it is Maya, it is ignorance, it is this, that. But at the last stage, for God realization or attaining that state of Brahman, one must have to surrender to God and wait for His grace to come. Once Harinath said to the master that his goal was to attain nirvana, or liberation, in this very life. For this the master reproached him. Those who seek nirvana are selfish. Wow. Sri Ramakrishna wanted to make them the world teacher. That's why he said, those who seek for their own salvation, I will be free. Vivekananda also said very rudely, those who seek for their own, he's talking to his own disciples. If you seek your own salvation first, at the cost of others, then you will go to hell. That means you should be broad. Let everyone be happy. Everyone be free from. Then I will be the last. So what a broad concept of Vedantic idea. That is the idea of Buddhism, no? Bodhisattva state. Bodhisattva state is Buddha. Attain that state and saying that let everyone be, and that they keep this body or state where for the compassion to help others only. Those who seek nirvana are selfish and small-minded. They are full of fear. They are like those players who are always eager to reach home. He's talking about some games people play, but an adept player is never afraid of coming out again if by doing so he gets opportunity to capture an opponent. Then he rolls the right number and returns home once more. It seems that whenever he rolls the dice, the right number comes up, etc. Does it actually happen? Harinath asked. Ramakrishna said, of course, replied the master. My mother's grace, everything takes place. Ramakrishna's life was his message. Harinath was very much impressed by his life of God intoxication, going to Makali. There is a big quotation from Ramakrishna, what he said about. To live with Sri Ramakrishna was a great education. He taught his disciples how to attain perfection in samadhi as well as in service. So Ramakrishna trained all these disciples to be perfected in spiritual life as also in material life. Sometimes we think we are spiritually practicing spiritual discipline. We should be careless about material things. That's the concept, no? I am so much God intoxicated. I don't care about keeping my things in proper place or organizing my things. No, because it's all impermanent. That is a very, very, very wrong concept. Ramakrishna's disciples should not be like that. They should be, whenever they put the mind in the world, that is also should be organized and perfected. So Harinath and others learned from Sri Ramakrishna how to be equally practical and at the same time spiritually illumined. Ramakrishna tested his disciples. One day Harinath arrived at Dakshineshwar and the master was having his dinner. He saw that a number of bowls containing various cooked items were placed before him. Harinath thought that this kind of luxurious eating was unbecoming to a holy man. The master said at once, well, he understood, read the mind of Harinath. He saw that the prasad has come to Ramakrishna and he is eating with so many plates, no? So he said it is not good for a holy man to eat so many items. So, it is by Rajasic device that I hold, Ramakrishna said at once, reading the mind. Well, the tendency of mind is always towards the infinite. It is by such Rajasic devices that I hold it down to the lower planes. Otherwise I could not talk with you. See, Ramakrishna is enjoying only seeing so many items. He is trying to keep the mind down to the world. Otherwise his mind will be shooting into samadhi. He cannot walk and talk to anybody. So to keep his mind down, he is experiencing or arranging this food or tasting this food, but not for other reason. It is not for lust or it is for tongue to have a good food. Harinath was dumbfounded hearing this response. Another time, Balaram's house, Ramakrishna was illustrating his teaching with some very apt tales. Harinath was surprised at the spontaneity with which this story is cropped up in his talk. And he asked, Sir, do you prepare your similes before you get out? The master replied, No, Mother is always present. Wherever I go, Mother supplies me with these ideas. No, I need not have to think. We come to prepare lecture, no? Note down here and there, to ask the Google or AI to give points, and then we make a lecture, no? But Ramakrishna had no Google or AI. Mother is the Google and AI. So everything comes from Mother, and he supplies all the responses. After attaining illumination, Ramakrishna waited for his disciples more than 20, nearly 25 years. During the last few years of his life, when his young disciples joined him, Master poured all his spiritual treasures into them and bound them with love. He hastened to train his disciples so that they would carry the message to the world. Once he said to Harinath, I wanted to see you quite often, for I know you are dear to the Lord. Otherwise, why should I spend much time with you? You cannot give me anything worth even a cent. And when I go to your house, you cannot even spread a torn mat for me to sit on. Yet I love you so much. Don't forget it to come to here, because here you will get everything that is needed for your spiritual life. It's a big statement by Ramakrishna himself, talking to Swami Turiyanandaji Hari Maharaj. If you can find elsewhere opportunities for God realization, you may go there. What I want is that you should realize God, that you should transcend the misery of the world and enjoy divine bliss, that you should attain Him in this very life. The Divine Mother tells me, if you only come here, you will realize God without any effort. That is why I ask you to see me so often. Saying these words, Sri Ramakrishna was overcome with emotion and began to shed tears. This is also another, that he is crying for us and making a way so that we can get out of these troubles of life by preparing his disciples, Turiyananda, all the Brahmananda, Sharadananda, Ramakrishnananda, others. And that made him come again and again. On 24th of May 1884, Harinath again visited Ramakrishna in Dakshineshwar. Well, he said to the master, well, why does it take many people such a long time to realize God? The master said, the truth is that a man does not feel restless for God unless he is finished with his enjoyment and duties. Then Harinath asked, why is there so much suffering in the world? Master said, this world is a lila, divine play of God. It is like game. In this game, there are joy and sorrow, virtue and vice, knowledge and ignorance, good and evil. The game cannot continue if sin and suffering are altogether eliminated from the creation. In this game of hide and seek, one must touch the granny in order to free. But the granny is never pleased if she is touched at the very beginning. It is mother's play going on. But this play of God is our death. Sri Ramakrishna smiled. Please tell me, who are you? God alone has become this world. Maya, the universe, living beings, 24 cosmic principles. So, who are you? He has become Guru, and he cures the ignorance, avidya from Maya, and brings the knowledge. Like that we find that Sri Ramakrishna's conversation with Sri Ramakrishna, and he is building up his character. One day Kashipur Harinath said, how are you, sir? The master said, oh, I am in great pain. I cannot eat anything. There is an unbearable burning in my throat. Harinath knew that the knower of Brahman is beyond the pairs of opposites, pleasure and pain. He understood that the master was testing him. So he said to him humbly, sir, whatever you may say, I see you are in infinite ocean. I see you as an infinite ocean of blissfulness. At this, Ramakrishna said with a smile, this rascal has found me out. Sri Ramakrishna is also giving a test to his disciple. And Ramakrishna Harinath said, Sir, you are suffering so much. Ramakrishna said, it's my suffering, it's burning so much pain, burning pain. Then he said, yeah, you have no pain. Your body is in pain, you are not in pain. See, these are all high philosophy. But it is possible in life to experience. And now, after this Ramakrishna's days passed, he went to wandering around in India in different places of pilgrimage. And that's a long story, how many places he went. Traveled to Turkasi, then lived happily in the Garhwal hills, totally forget of the existence of the world, amidst only and aimed only at God realization. Oh, those days are coming to my mind when I lived in Srinagar Ghat. I used to rise very early and bathe. Then I would sit in meditation and afterwards read. At 11, I would rise and procure some food in an hour. Early morning, you get up at 3:30, 11 o'clock, he is practicing meditation. Think of this, life is not built up so easily. You have to work hard on your spiritual path, no? Whatever, even those great souls. Now, after that he visited many places. Then lastly, however, the path of action is not for everybody. So Turiyananda wanted to pass his days in spiritual discipline. And then Baranagar monastery was established. And everyone is doing work, but Turiyananda is always in samadhi. He is practicing in meditation and studying the Vedanta and leading like that. So Turiyananda wanted to pass his days in spiritual discipline. But Vivekananda intervened. Brother, can't you see I have been laying down my life inch by inch in fulfilling the mission of the Master till I am on the verge of death? Can you merely stand looking on and not come to my help by relieving me a part of my great burden? Turiyananda could not refuse the leader's entreaties. He asked him to come to this country to preach Vedanta. You have lived enough. You have enjoyed your spirituality enough. Now go and preach Vedanta. So he came into America in June 1899 and left for England and America with Vivekananda and with Sister Nivedita and others. And then visited England. These two Swamis left for America, 16th August. Turiyananda moved to Mrs. Wheeler's residence in Montclair in New Jersey. So here in New Jersey, Swamiji stayed in many places in Turiyananda. Turiyananda moved to Miss Wheeler's residence in Montclair near New Jersey, 40 miles from New York City, where there was a Vedanta society led by Swami Abhedananda. Then Gurudas Swami Atulananda, a Western student of Turiyananda, joined him. He talked with fire to that Swami, whose name is Gurudas Maharaj Atulananda. He was Dutch, he was a Dutch Swami. He said that when about Turiyananda, he is saying, he talked with fire and enthusiasm, and he would lose himself entirely in the subject, forgetting everything else for the time being. So Turiyananda was an illumined monk, full of purity and renunciation. He was a constant source of inspiration to the students. One day, while walking on the street in New York, he shouted to Gurudas, be a lion, break the cage and be free. And one day he was in the New York, near the park. He was walking with this Gurudas, Atulananda, and he is saying, suddenly he said, oh Gurudas, be a lion, break the cage of this body-mind and be free. Turiyananda carried on Vedanta work in New York for a year. Then Vivekananda was preaching in California. Turiyananda started the sophisticated Western audience with the bold, uncompromising message of Vedanta. Brahman alone is real, everything else is unreal. The human soul is Brahman. We are bound by the delusion of ignorance. Tear away the delusion and be free. All power is within you, for you are the Atman. Assert your divine nature. And then then he came to Turiyananda Swami came to San Francisco, and then Olima, and he has trained a group of people and the American students in the style of Indian spiritual tradition. And then San Francisco Center, he was there for some period, etc., etc. Santi Ashram, July 4, 1900, Turiyananda left New York and then came to Mrs. Brooke in Santi Ashram. And so then he helped in building up the place in Santi Ashram, and solid group of people who are dedicated to God, were trained under him. Those are very beautiful reminiscences of Turiyananda Swami. Turiyananda kept a watchful eye on all the students and their activities. He was often seen with some disciple or other giving advice or having fun. In kitchen one day, the Swami found a woman testing the food to see whether salt had been added, as we do. That is, the Western women do not know that we don't test before giving it to God. So during the cooking process, we don't taste the food in India, he told her, because it is offered to the Lord. We do not cook for ourselves or the family. We cook food as an offering to God. After we have offered to Him, it is distributed among the members of the family. So we keep our kitchen and everything connected with it very clean and holy. Like that he used to train the disciples with the mundane things also, apart from the spiritual lessons. A real Vedantin is supposed to transcend body consciousness. And that story goes that later on, Shanti Ashram and other San Francisco period is very important. And then San Francisco, he came to Oakland and San Francisco giving talks, lectures. Then he went back, returned to India, and San Francisco to Burma, and he was very eager to see Vivekananda again. That was his call to go back, but he got the message. He could not see Vivekananda. He passed away in 1902, 4th of July, while he was in the travel. When his boat reached Calcutta on 14, Sarvadevanananda and number of monks came to the pier to receive Turiyananda and bring him to Belur Math. When Turiyananda disembarked, he put his arms around Sarvadevanananda and burst into tears because they loved Swamiji so much. And he was coming quickly to see Swamiji only. But Swamiji passed away by that time. Turiyananda lived with other disciples of the Master at Belur Math for about 3 months. He never boasted of the work of America. If anybody praised him, and he would say, the Master does his work, we are just his instrument. So doing whatever he have achieved here is a commendable achievement, because he showed the spiritual life, what is Vedanta life, to demonstrate. But he was not taking any credit of that. He wrote to Ida Ansel in Belur Math on 20th September, the blow was too severe and I have not recovered from its shock. One redeeming feature is that Swamiji has got the rest he needed so badly. But he has done what he has done for the world. Let the world realize that and be benefited by for ages. He gave his body in Samadhi, and it was not an ordinary death. It was conscious passing away. Of course, it is a calamitous to us, but we must learn to submit to Mother's will. Like that, so Turiyananda then went on to Himalayas. In 1905, Turiyananda's health broke down and severe austerities, and he had to leave. He was in Vrindavan, And he went to Advaita Ashram in Mayavati, in Himalayas, where he stayed for a few months, regained a little health. He then visited Almora, Nainital, Haridwar, Rishikesh, and all these places in Uttarkasi. There was heavy snowfall in these areas, and the ascetic living was impossible. And he came back to Rishikesh, Uttarkasi, to Rishikesh, and Devagiri and other places. Then he went to 1907, went to Kurukshetra and stayed there, and with the Gurudas. The Swami used to say, Gurudas wrote, we are on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, where Sri Krishna preached the Gita. Then he began to chant the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita from memory. A few pilgrims came and listened. He chanted in a loud voice with much feeling. So he was again going to different places of pilgrimage in India, Kurukshetra, Nangol, etc. Then Konkhol, Almora, Puri, and visited all these places, and then he ultimately came to Benares, last days in Benares. So we cannot make justice for reading more. You are getting late. So we'll read the last chapter, last days in Varanasi. On 4th of February 1919, Turiyananda left for Varanasi, the city of light, and lived there until the end of his life. During his last 3.5 years, the Swami inspired by many monks and devotees. Many of his conversations are recorded and translated in Spiritual Talks. You can find that book, Spiritual Talks of Turiyananda. He would meditate early in the morning. Then after a little walk, he would eat his breakfast. He was a serious reader. He would share with others his wisdom and spiritual experiences. Turiyananda had very little body consciousness. When asked how was he will quote Master's words, let the body and the affliction take care of themselves. O my mind, you dwell in bliss. Deho jane আর দুঃখ জানে মন তুমি আনন্দে থাকো. Whenever suffering comes, say to yourself, it is the body suffering. Oh, let the body and the mind let them understand. But oh, mind, actually you should rejoice in joy because you are not body, not mind. Turiyananda always tried to inspire young novitiates, brahmacharis, with the ideal of monastic life. One needs courage and self-confidence in order to lead this pure life. One day Turiyananda quoted the verse from Bhagavad Gita, let a man be lifted up by his own self, let him not lower himself, for he himself is his friend and his enemy. Then he commented, who is your best friend? No one but the self-capital, the Atman. If we do not know him, the Atman may even seem to be our own enemy. There is no savior in this world for any one of us except the Atman. We have to take refuge in this Atman. One day, encouraging a young man to live contemplative life, Turiyananda remarked, musk grows in the navel of a musk deer, but the animal does not know. Hence it becomes mad in search for its perfume, running here and there, but all in vain. Similarly, we run about and exhaust ourselves till we gain the knowledge of the divinity that is always within us. So, search God in your heart. So, beautiful. One statement is here. Let me read, not much. I can read out. One story you should remember, that he had carbuncle in his back while staying in Benares, Varanasi days. So it is a hospital center, so the doctors wanted to operate on it. And he was asked, he said 3-4 carbuncle at a time to operate. So doctors suggested that we should have to put anesthesia or something and then do the operation. But Hari Maharaj said, I don't need it. So you come. So date was fixed and the doctors were ready and did the operation. The time, he said, okay, start. And they started to operating without giving any anesthesia or anything. And the operation went up for maybe 1 hour or something. And then they are finished with that. And then he said, now we are done, Swami. He got a little awakened. And then operation is done. And he didn't feel anything without any anesthesia even. Then the doctor said, he's a yogi. The yogi can do miracle. But probably it is something miracle has happened. So, next time when they came to see how is that operation, or maybe try to cut the stitches or something, or change the gauze and other things. And they came in not telling anything, just touched the knife on the back, and he jumped out of crying. Then the doctor said, what's the matter? The other day, we did the entire operation, and you didn't utter a single word. And now we didn't do anything, just touched the wound with a little knife, and you jumped out. Then he said, that is the point. You didn't give me the time to withdraw my mind. Such a full control over mind, as I can keep my book here, I can book there, no matter. Put the book here, you can put it there, you can put it anywhere. He has the power to put his mind in the body, withdraw the body, mind, put it in God. Finish. Whatever you do in the body, you do it. But that day, he said, you gave me the time and warning that you are going to do that with the body. I got the time to withdraw my mind. But today, I was in the body consciousness and you started without telling me anything. My mind was in the body, so body reacted. See how great yogi was he, that he can endure the entire operation for an hour without murmur, taking the mind, lifting from the body. We know, we say, I am not the body, not the mind, we talk. But he has mastered that his mind he can really take out and put it whenever he wants. That is called the yogic power, and that's called the spiritual power of man. Not the power of the bullet is powerful. This is the more powerful than anything. That's why they don't feel any problem. And Ramakrishna also, when he said, you rascal, find out, you have found on me, He's the same thing. When he thinks that I am the Atman and he is withdrawing the mind, no pain. But when he is keeping the body consciousness, talking to people, it will have the same reaction. It does not matter whether you are a Brahmagyani or not. Physically, suppose a Brahmagyani comes and you throw some spray, which you carry sometimes to deter bad people. Pepper spray. Suppose you spray the pepper to a bad guy. Will his eyes burn? Yeah. And give it to the holy man. Will it burn? Yes. Same. Because it is the body. Body is a machine. It works in its own principle. But body, you connect with the body or disconnect with the body. That's your power of the mind. And spirituality is like that, to withdraw the mind. Okay, I read the last paragraph, then end. A person who has experienced the Atman can separate himself from the body consciousness. He then watches his own body like a witness. That is the story he has given here. So I have already told, we should not spend time to that. Then he said, the surgery was not finished, so I had to catch hold the mind over more. Now, Turiyananda was silent for some time. Then he continued, do you know how it is? Bhagavad Gita read, wherein established in the bliss of his inmost being is not shaken over by the heaviest sorrows. This verse explained by Shankara as follows. A man of realization is not shaken even by the pain caused by the application of a sharp weapon. Two ideas are brought out here. First, Shankara shows that a perfect yogi has extraordinary control over the mind. Secondly, shows that such a man remains in a state far beyond the control of the nature. During the summer of 1921, Turiyananda's suffering continued to increase. Now it was skin trouble on the back. Swami Sarvadevanananda came to Varanasi from Calcutta with Dr. Kanjilal to see Brother Monk. The same year, the best surgeons of Varanasi operated on Turiyananda, removing a large carbuncle and much of his tissues around it. Mid-1922, he suffered from some disease, and operation was the last one, and Turiyananda's entire back became infected and gangrene set in. And as a result, the Swami Turiyananda passed away in 6:45 p.m. on 21st July 1922. The night before his death, he said to his attendant, this is very important, tomorrow is the last day. He knew when he is going to leave the body. That is the another power of the yogis, these Brahmagyanis. They know they can at will decide their death. Swami Vivekananda decided the date when he will die. And you know, our Swami Prabhuvananda, who is the founder of our Hollywood Center, he was to die, but he is all the time asking for what is the time, what is the time. And when it crossed the midnight, it became 4th of July. He was waiting for 4th of July to leave the body. And when it crossed midnight, and then he gradually left the body. But before that, he called every disciple and blessed them and asked their questions, and with full knowledge. See, it is not happening in Turiyananda, Ramakrishna, Brahmananda, Vivekananda, no. It is the tradition. Brahma-Jnana, when it gets, such a control comes in there, they can foresee what is happening. So Swami Turiyananda, tomorrow is the last day, he said. Towards the end, he chanted, Om Ramakrishna, Om Ramakrishna. Then he asked an attendant to help him sit up. With folded hands, he saluted Sri Ramakrishna and then drank a little holy water, Ganges water. When he summed up his life's, he then summed up his life's experience. Quote, everything is real. Brahman is real. Now you see, opposite idea, no? First he started with everything is unreal. Brahman is real, is it not? He started with that. He is concluding his journey. Everything is real because it is all God. After reaching that flight of experience, when you come down, you see nothing but God. So he says, everything is God. He said that everything is real, Brahman is real, the world is real, the world is Brahman. The life force is established in truth. Hail Sri Ramakrishna, hail Sri Ramakrishna. Say that he is the embodiment of the truth and embodiment of knowledge. Quote ends. He then recited the Upanishad mantra along with Akhandananda. Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma. Brahman is truth, knowledge and infinity. Slowly he closed his eyes as if merging into Brahman. Sri Ramakrishna had once remarked about Turiyananda, quote, he comes of that transcendent region whence name and form are manufactured. Quote ends. Swami Turiyananda justified his name, which means transcendent bliss. Turiya Ananda. Turiya means transcendent. The transcendent bliss. Truly, he tasted the bliss of transcendental Brahman, and he shared that with each and all. He was a true mystic and silently transformed many lives in the East and the West. Turiyananda was indeed an awakener of souls. His fiery words to his students were, clench your fists and say, I will conquer, now or never. Make that your motto. Even in this life, I must see God. That is the only way. Never postpone. So, that is the conclusion, the idea. Reading of this life is getting some inspiration in our life. It is not meaningless just to read the book because it is the birthday. But the question is that what we can learn out of it. We can learn that we can also practice. First we say it is not. But afterwards see it, it is. Ramakrishna said that you first climb the stairs and this is the roof, saying the steps, this is not the roof, not the roof. You climb in the roof and then you come down, oh, it is made of the same material as the roof is made, the stairs are made the same material. So after realization coming down, see the world filled with God and God awareness. We pray to Sri Ramakrishna and Swami Turiyanandaji to bless us with this knowledge and wisdom so that we can practice in our life and make our life meaningful, purposeful. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Sri Ramakrishna Panamastu. You can read it, the book is available. And tons of sermon, tons of talks, meaningless, to read the life. Life leads another life, lamp to lamp. Inspiration comes from it. It is theoretical talk is something. But when we go to the troubles of life and how we can transcend, if we find some example, that inspires us much more. So these are the inspiring life. All the direct disciples have unique life. And they are by their own they are all realized souls. But each expression is different. But they have conquered death, conquered suffering. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah.
So how do we bring the mind to the heart center?
Mind?
Mind or God to the heart center? Because a lot of places they say when we are meditating, we should be able to bring your, and even you read right now that he said to bring the God to the heart center. So how do we do that?
How do you when you are meditating, you think that the Lord whom you are meditating is seated in your heart instead of here or here. Because we have to understand that our mind is normally lives in the lower three chakras. It should not jump into. Suppose you are climbing a mountain, it should be gradual movement. No, one should not go to the 18,000. In Kailas there is a point 18,600 feet. So if you go to that, you will be breathless. It is a good place, high altitude. In spirituality there is a high altitude. So if you go here, that's good. Everyone feels joy. But it is a reaction. Much reaction may happen. Afterwards headache, some pain, and some shivering. All this, many difficulties may come. So that's why he said, start in the heart center. And Bhagavad Gita says, Upanishad says, Rishis, all the Rishis says, Hrida manasa viklipto jayatad vidur amritaste bhavanti. First in heart. And moreover, heart is our feeling center. Someone gives you a hard time, you feel pain. Where? Not in the tip of finger, not in the ear, not in anywhere, but it is in the heart. You feel joy. Where do you feel? A feeling of feeling center. So that's why to feel God's presence also, it is better to start there. To forcefully bring the mind down and try to keep it there. Okay? So we'll see you again when I